we've had 7 practices, and I'm just really appreciative of the guys' effort because you're starting early. This wouldn't sound that big a deal if we were mid-October. A coach should appreciate the effort, but I really appreciate it because we started in September for the first time, and for the guys to be playing at this level of effort and concentration and just trying to learn a new system, they've really been impressive through about 7 practices. And we've had some injuries, we haven't had a full roster and those type of things, but they've really done a good job early in the season, and that's a plus to them because it's the first impression, and they've given very good impressions to the coaching staff.
Any updates on your 2 guys' eligibility list?
No, we're still waiting. I would assume Juana's, I'm hoping, comes at any time. Now, he's still battling the injury, so of when he'll actually be on the floor. But at least if we know that, we've got some kind of plan moving forward. But we haven't heard anything on him, and we've gotten no feedback. Isaacs has just gone in very recently, so we knew we were going to get a feedback right away on him. But we're hoping that we get some kind of feedback fairly shortly on Juana.
Have you got any clarity on starting 5 rotation?
No, it's really early. Obviously, if you look at vets, and I'm a big believer in you give the vets the benefit of the doubt, especially early in the season. But we've got great vets, and it's odd saying like calling Kyle and Jordan vets when they're just going into their sophomore year. But these are 2 outstanding players. So, but I think you can kind of look at it and see what might transpire, but there's still so much competition to go. We've had very little like what you would consider scrimmaging. A lot of it's been breakdown work into like 2 possession games or 3 possessions games. Yesterday was the first time we actually went into a 6-minute game. We like playing. You get a media timeout every 4 minutes, and I always like playing 6-minute games because you condition them mentally and physically a couple minutes past the media. And yesterday was the first time we even did that. And so we're changing a lot of different lineups, a lot of different looks. And a lot of that's because, we don't know eligibility-wise on a couple of them, and Juana's hurt. So we don't have as many bigs on the floor going against each other as we'd like. So guys like Kyle, one day he's a point guard. Somebody's not in practice, so now he's the 4-man. So it's a luxury. It's a great luxury, and I can tell you, through 23 years, I've never had a guy that I could put out there at 6'8" as a point guard, and that's something that's been special. Darrington Hobson was probably the closest I've had at New Mexico, and he was 6'6", and he had a tremendous year for us at New Mexico. But Kyle's very, very talented because of his versatility.
With the concepts you're trying to teach them offensively and defensively, how much are they picking up on it after being in a different system?
That's what I've been really impressed with, because we've had a head start because we've done a little bit of this in the summer with individual workouts and the things that we've been able to do rule-wise when we've had them. But again, it hadn't been a whole team, and when we first got hired here, there was no Zach, there was no Noah, there was no Bryce, there was no Juana. And then all of a sudden when those 4 guys got here, we didn't have Norman because we gave the vets that first summer session off. So we really haven't had a full roster until the second summer session started in early August. But we've started just putting small things in because we knew we were going to have those 2 extra weeks here of getting ready. But they're really picking things up well. And our offense is a lot about reads. I don't want them getting hung up on we're not a go to point A, point B, point C system. It's giving you the freedoms to play, just make the right reads. And that's what they're really doing a good job of trying to make those right reads.
What was your pitch to Tony to convince him to stay out here?
As far as staying at UCLA, I don't know if we really pitched anything to anybody, whether it was Tony or anybody else. The Wares are, 2 guys who are going to graduate. They could take advantage of that rule and go wherever they wanted and played right away. So we had a lot of guys, and we spent probably the first 2 months, though we were out on the road in April. The hardest recruiting that we did in those first 2 months were with our guys right here because we knew we had a chance to be pretty good if everybody stayed intact, and we brought in that good freshman group. So that's the important thing. That we wanted to have that good first year and get our system in and get it running with really highly talented kids. So I think it was just spending a lot of time with them, talking to them, letting them try to trust us and build that trust in us of what we were telling them, and then we were backing up, whether that be, first and foremost, we said we were going to hire a new strength coach. And that strength coach was going to be 24/7 men's basketball. And, trusting that was going to take place, and then it took place, and Coach Long got here and developed a really good relationship with him, and Tony was a part of that. And then all of a sudden, Tony started seeing his body changing. He started losing weight. He started building confidence. So, I think part of it is just opening up that line of communication and building that relationship with guys. And I think our staff really worked hard on that in the first 2 months.
Besides the weight loss, what have you seen from?
Well, I think once he lost the weight, he started building confidence because he saw himself running the floor differently. He saw himself making post moves differently. So then he started getting success. And that's what we tell guys. If you pick the ball up every day and you work at it, you do individual workouts, you're going to build confidence because you're going to see yourself getting better. And I think that's what happened with Tony. Tony's a winner. 4 state championships, and his first year in college, he wins a Pac-12 championship. That's what I've been impressed. A lot of these guys have had winning demeanors, and I don't think that's part of the teaching that we have to do. Now it's just instilling our system and letting those guys play. And Tony's just built he's got a lot of good momentum right now because I think since July, his body's changed, and he's gotten the last couple of months has just been momentum of building some confidence that he's playing better.
He only played a few minutes last year. Is this year, do you foresee him having to have a significantly bigger role just because?
Well, yeah, and if you look at our roster right now, obviously that can change hopefully with Juana. But if you look at it right now, you got the Ware twins and Tony. So, those 3 guys obviously are going to get a lot of minutes. And all 3 of them are deserving of it. I'm not saying that any of them aren't deserving of it, but they're going to get plenty of opportunities early in the season. And Tony, like the Wares, are very much in our mix of how we're wanting to play both offensively and defensively.
Offensively, you're obviously a big proponent of the motion offense.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a plan to include some half-court sets? I mean, do you apply any of that?
Yeah, we call them actions, and that's just terminology. It's more than sets. They're actions that flow into things. We like the defense to guard us for 35 seconds, and the whole 35 seconds. I'm not saying we're going to not shoot I'm saying if the possession goes 20 seconds, we want them guarding us all 20. If it goes 30, if we get in transition and only goes 10, my point is we don't like to reset. We're going to run in transition, and that should be flowing into something. And that's what the guys are learning. We have a transition series that flows into more offense, not we run, then we back it up, set it up, and grind. You want a good flow to your offense, and that's what the guys are learning. And that's why I say it's actions where it's reads. I'm going to down screen, the defense takes this away, so now I'm looking at the screener, those type of things. And that takes time. It takes a lot of time to figure out those reads. But through 7 practices, they've really showed that just from day 1 to day 7 and just the organized practices, they're picking some things up that normally might take 10, 11, 12 days to do. So I've been impressed with that.
Have you noticed some eagerness to get involved in that kind of offense after they've had some half-court?
You'd have to ask them, but they seem excited, and they know I'm harping on running. We want to get out and run, and that's the thing. There are a lot of guys that say they want to run and they want to play up tempo, but the minute you start actually doing that, they're like, we could do a couple of half courts now. So it's like they've got to figure that out, and that's why I say we're early. They're not in 40 minutes of transition play type of condition yet. We hope that by the time we get to Drexler and we start moving through the playing season, that we just keep getting stronger with it. And I think that's what coaches all across the country are trying to figure out, because we've never started this early. And on the men's side, we've never started this early. So you can't wear them out by the time you get to October 15th. And there's a fine line too. You're playing against each other for that long. So we've got to. That's why some weeks we end up going 2 days off just to get them away from each other, because you're looking at now the better part of 7 weeks when we started, almost 8 weeks before you get to play somebody, not including the exhibitions, but before you get to play somebody like Drexel to open up the season. So you're going to get sick of playing against each other. And so we want to make sure that when we get into the season, they're both mentally and physically fresh. And hopefully that's going to not just what we're trying to do offensively in transition, but how we want to guard.
Would you say transition offense is a strength of this team, given the athleticism, versatility, that sort of thing, or is there still a long way to go?
Yeah, there's still obviously a long way to go, but with Kyle, who's 6'8", and, when he's at point, he's very good at pushing it ahead versus the pass. You've got wings like Norman and Zach who can really run the floor. You got a guy like Jordan Adams who can really read off the ball stuff. He's very good. Bryce pushes it a little differently than what Kyle does, but Bryce can also move without the ball. So we got guards that, Noah's doing a very good job of running the floor right now. So we've got guards that I'm still on them because we're not running the floor like I think they should, but through 7 practices, again, they're starting to realize, hey, when I run, good things happen. Now, can I run 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight times? That's a little different. It's a different mindset. It's a different physical conditioning, and that's what they're working on. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.